He's the madman from Mississippi. He's known as the Compire County Killer. His hands have been dubbed the Grim Reapers. He's the founder of a roofing company. He has his own podcast, and he's even a bail bondsman, Mr. Bubba Malbrough.
What's going on, brother? How you been?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How are you?
Just getting back from sunny Florida, the Sunshine State. Some of the gangsters call it the Gunshine State. No, spent about a week down in Destin, man. Got some rays. Caught me that nice glow about my skin now. So now we can go out and hit these roofs now this week.
Beautiful, man. Full disclosure, I just go like a lobster. I don't get that glow, but I'm glad you do.
Let's go. I drink from skulls. Drink from the skulls of my enemies.
Well, for the benefit of everyone following along, who is Bubba? What are you up to? What are you doing? Talk us through it.
So I'm a savage ass dude, but I'm a product of setbacks, letdowns, and self-destruction, man. I've been through the ringer. I've been to hell and back. I've been and done, seen it all. Kind of feel like a modern day Forrest Gump, bro. My dad was a drunk, man. He was never around. My mom battled with addiction. And, I've had hard days growing up. I didn't have no glorious, childhood. I had fun childhood, but I look back now and I appreciate every moment of it because it built me into the person I am today. Gave me determination and growth, and it meant in the skill to want to grow and become a much better version of myself. I fail, but besides that, that's where my self-destruction comes in. Old habits sneak back up on me, man, and I hate that it happens, but it does happen. Now I work really hard to try to break those habits, and so I'll have to run into that cycle, keep on doing the same. But I do a lot of personal development to keep from doing that. But like I said, I fail. I'm not a perfect human being. I fail, but yeah, personal development and good meditation to help get you where you want to be.
Love that. And you weren't always a roofer. Let's talk a little bit about before, what you used to do before roofing, because I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I started out, I was working shutdowns and paper mills, and and that was around 2007, 2008. I started training mixed martial arts, and that was really my full-time gig because the shutdowns and paper mills, I'd make good money, but it was only like 14 to 21 day jobs. I didn't make enough money. I was a single man, had no kids, had no family. And when I wasn't working in the refineries, I was training to fight. That took about 4 to 6 hours of my day. And at night, I was a bouncer or a bar back at the local bar here in town. Did that for 8 years. Mixed martial arts, kind of got out of that, continued working. That's when I kind of went back to full-time working in refineries as a quality control inspector, a welder inspector. And I was going through a custody battle with my oldest child. At the time, it took a lot of money, time, and resources, man. And so I just kind of put the fight on the back burner. I never knew if I was going to fight again. 2018, they had a new organization roll up on the scene here in the U.S., BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. I was watching my buddies fight for them here in Mississippi. I was like, damn, these some guys that, we trained with for years. I trained with for years. And I said, damn, that looks really cool. That's my style of fighting. That's like, you gotta be a savage motherfucker to do that. That's my style of shit. So 2019 rolled around. I'm 280 pounds. They called me up. They said, hey, you want to fight? I'm like, yeah, I'll fight. This was April of 2019. Yeah, April of 2019. They said, well, we'll call you when we get the final card together, let you know if you made it or not. I was like, all right. I didn't do shit. I kept on eating and drinking and living my day-to-day life. They called me May 20th. They said, hey, you on the card August 7th. Get ready to fight. What you want to fight at? Like I said, I'm 280 pounds. And I said, I don't want to fight at heavyweight. So let's do a catch at heavy. I said, let's do 215. I was calculating. I was like, I think I can make that. Man, that was a hard 2.5 months of I was working 2 hours. I was working night shift 13 hours in California. I was working out 2 hours before work. I was working out 2 hours after work. I was working 13 hours a night. And I went from 280 and I showed it for the weigh-in. My scale said I was 216. That motherfucker lied to me. I got to the official scale and they said I was 217. It's 110 degrees outside here in Mississippi. I'm out there walking sauna suit, sweats on this black asphalt parking lot for about 20 minutes to cut that last pound. I'm dead. I get the call that said live weigh-ins. You need to be in here now. I run in, draw off, put me some dry underwear on, jump on the scale, 216 on the dot. I'm so dehydrated, I can't even talk. Like my voice box is gone. I can't. I'm like, can I get something to drink? They're like, yeah, you good to go. Boom. You know, I fought, didn't win that one, man. Still under contract with them, so I'm gearing up. Hopefully, I can get something in there. You know, it depends if we get some of these kinks worked out with the company. See if I can get back in there by the end of the year. You know, another catch it heavy because I'm pretty heavy right now, but not as heavy as then. You know, as I was then. But I think I could definitely do another 215 fight. You know, before kind of moving down to cruiserweight or light heavy.
Yeah, nice. Man, that cut that would have tested you.
Yeah, that cut was tough, man. I think because in my earlier days, I would cut 20 pounds. It was no problem. I cut 20 pounds in a week of water weight. It was never an issue for me. I'm assuming now, just because I'm a little older, it's just tougher on me now. It was a tougher recovery. I'd never had to do an IV drip. It was never really mandatory for me to, because I would just rehydrate with Pedialyte and water and you know, get carb up. But after that cut, man, I had to go to a hydration station to get 2 IVs because I was hurting pretty bad. It definitely takes a lot of mental fortitude to do that. I think that's the biggest part of the game is getting through the mental aspect of it, because the fight game is really just 70-80% mental, 20% physical. It could be 80% physical if your ass ain't in shape, but you know, 70-80% of that is just really mental.
And I guess that sort of steels you for being in business as well, having there's not too much you haven't gone through in terms of difficulty, whether it was working 12, 13 hours, 14-hour shifts, training before and after, or to facing the challenges we do as business owners. So have you found that strength and the mental fortitude from fighting and, you know, even fighting that day when you probably shouldn't, it wasn't ideal, put it that way. It's very difficult to fight when you've been through that sort of a cut.
That's right, man, because I weighed in at 216. Although I did rehydrate properly and did everything I needed to, I walked in the ring at 240. But when you're fighting at a guy that's like he was already he was already walking around at that weight. He didn't have to cut no weight. So I'm at 240. I'm heavy. I'm heavier on my feet now. This dude, you know, he was a lot lighter on his feet because he was able to move around fast. Even though, I mean, I can move good to be a big guy, but he was a lot lighter on his feet, and I come in really heavy on my feet. I didn't like that. You know, it's just I was real sluggish in the fight, but it is what it is. But going back to your question, yeah, it does, man. Because when people tell me shit's hard, I look at them and kind of chuckle because I'm like, man, you ain't never dealt with hard shit. If this is hard, you've never dealt with that in your life. I remember in the 9th grade coming home from school one day to get some clothes. I was staying at a buddy's house. Been staying at his house for a couple of weeks, man. You know, like I said, I didn't grow up in the ideal conditions, but I'm walking through the house, man. There's crack pipes all over the house. And I walk in my room and there's this crackhead laying up on my bed with my clothes on. And it set a fire on me, man, and got my shit, but you know, when I go through stuff like that in my life, you know, living in a camper built in like 1970, had no insulation in the middle of winter. And I made it through, man. I look at things and they're easy. Shit's easy for me because I've been through a lot of adversity. And I think people that's never dealt with adversity in their life growing up, you know, they had the silver spoon effect from their parents, that when life's gonna fuck them hard if they don't, you know, put themselves in some hard positions to kind of build some character in the moments. And fighting did that for me. Between fighting and all the bullshit I went through growing up, I think it helped. All that adversity helped me become mentally strong. I'm mentally strong. I'm a bullheaded individual. It's the best answer anybody can give me because I'll prove a motherfucker wrong quick. You know,
yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people's been told no enough. That's just my opinion. There's not a lot of people who gets told no a lot, especially this day and age. We live in a soft world now, where word no is just like taboo to a lot of people.
I agree 100%. I want to sort of change tunes a little bit here because you did start the roofing business not long after that. I'd love to hear about what gave you the idea, what led to it.
All right, so in 2020, COVID hit. I got laid off. I was a welder inspector. I was making really good money at the time. Got laid off March of 2020. I had a little girl on the way. She was gonna be born 6 weeks after I got laid off. There was no sight for me to come back to work. Nobody knew when we were gonna be able to come back into the refinery. But COVID was the biggest blessing for me because it took away my plan B. The always falling back, kind of failed at entrepreneurship before that, business ownership before that. So when things got a little tough and hard, I could just always go back to the refineries and make really good money as a subcontractor. And it was really easy for me to do that because I was really good at the skill set I chose as a quality control inspector. And went to it. I had a buddy that was working in the plants, and he was like, man, he said, you need to check out this roofing stuff I learned, how to do insurance claims and stuff. And I was like, I blew him off for a little bit because had a COVID cleaning business, and we know how COVID played out. Shit faded. So the business faded. And then I got up with him one day and said, man, just come work with me for like a week. Come see me for a week. And he said, I'm going to teach you some stuff. I literally learned the basics. And I was like, man, this is really not that hard. He's like, it's easy, bro. If I can do it, you can do it. You're way smarter than I am. I was like, all right. Still didn't pull the trigger at that point. That was January of 2021. I had an opportunity to go back into the plants, went back into the plants for 7 weeks, made a pretty good chunk of money. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to start the roofing company now. Went to MDM 2021, talked with a couple roofers there. And then I was like, all right, I'm sold. I'm starting one. Let me back up a little bit. I missed a key part of this whole story. I missed a key part. So when I was working with him, I door knocked his house and I gave this dude the estimate and everything. MDM. That was in January of 2021. April of 2021, MDM happened. I'm sold. I was like, I'm starting a fucking roofing company now. May of 2021, dude calls me, says, hey, this is I remember, dude, I live on and I shouldn't be even saying this, but in this city, I was like, I know you are. He was like, can you still do my roof for this amount? I didn't know if I could or I couldn't. I didn't know if I was going to make money or lose money. I told him, fuck yeah, I can. So, boom, went down there, got the deposit check, man. I literally started probably the worst way possible. No license, no insurance, no other. I had nothing. I sold the dude on just giving me a check with my name on it. He gave me half the check with my name on it, and I deposited my account to get the material. Found a crew, man. They did a jam-up job for me. That's kind of how we got started.
Wow, yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just one little opportunity, and then you can, you found a way to make it work. So that's cool. That's crazy too.
Yeah. I mean, I was rolling the fucking dice.
Yeah. But definitely worth a shot. And you went to $1 Million Mastermind, connected with some players, some movers and shakers, and you went, all right, I can do this shit. What happened next?
Yeah. And then we get to bumping and rolling. Hurricane Ida hits, and Hurricane Ida helped us generate the revenue to kind of move forward. In 2022, I realized during Hurricane Ida that how important systems and processes were. Because up until that point, I didn't know nothing about systems or process. I'm still kind of dumb to it to this day. I do a lot of studying on it, and still a lot of it's like Greek to me. Some people it's easy for. But I try to put it in the best terms possible, kind of like how I run my household, like, the process of when my children, you take your socks off, you don't just throw them in the middle of the floor, you put them in the basket, So I kind of try to operate but that system worked well for us to hit the $2 million mark. Well, now we're trying to go to the $5 million mark, and that system no longer applies. It's too simple, right? There's only, it works a little bit, but like we're trying to add in commercial and stuff, that process simply just isn't working anymore. So we try to find a little bit more complex. I think that's the word I'm looking for. A little bit bigger of a process, something that help move things smoother and the bigger projects smoother through the pipeline versus, all these small jobs. Try to get away from the small shit, man. I'm trying to decrease the liability by doing bigger jobs and having in charge of more, right? So I don't want to do 200 or 300 roofs a year. I want to do 5 million at, say 100 roofs, 150 roofs a year, just add in jobs. I don't want to do 200-300 roofs to hit that number because that just increases the liability on the company. And I'm trying to minimize liability and grow the revenue. And that's the only way to do is just get the bigger jobs. So the process we had it wasn't applicable to the bigger jobs. So we had, a consultant to help us with that. 2022, again, that's when we hit our 2 million. And, we went into 2023 and now we're like, shit, all right. That's when we realized that the processes we had just wasn't working. And we just had to bring in a consultant to kind of help us navigate some shit, rewrite some shit, and move some things around, bring in some key players. As we talked about earlier, we before we started recording, got to have those hard conversations with some of the employees I do have, on staff now. They're just, not cutting it right now. And it's hard to justify costs when you're trying to grow to that scale. Every dollar really counts, for your market. That's where we're at right now, man. We're here and we're just about to end Q2. Are we going to hit 5 million this year? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
It's still up in the air. We might not. It just really depends. If we can really put some key players in the places that we need them, hit the big jobs. We got some big shit on the books, but we also got to have those key players to make sure these jobs go right. Because if they go wrong, it will fuck us as a company, and I don't want that to happen. I will turn down a job, before that happens. And I don't want that to happen. So we got to get the key players in place.
That makes sense. Something you mentioned just then that really stood out to me is like, there's two things there. Number one, what got you here won't get you there. It's a famous saying. There's books on it. But it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, you experience this really quick growth, hit 0 to 2 mil rapidly, repeated it year 2. Again, it's a great result. And you can do that with very limited systems, processes, and people. And for some people, that's right. That's what they want to do. And that's where they want to play. And that's cool. It's more about like figuring out what you want in life, what you want out of your business. But what got you to the 2 mil ain't going to get you to 5, 6, or 8 and to that next levels. Because there's levels to this shit. We see it. We know a lot of people that are doing it. You're living and breathing that. And it's the same with people, right? Like those same people might not have the skill sets to go to that next level. And that's cool. That is all part of this journey. It might be hard for people to hear that, but that's literally how it works, right? Like they had a certain skill set that helped you get to this point. And maybe the recruitment wasn't as dialed in as it needs to be now. Because and I'm talking generally for a lot of roofing companies, a lot of people when we're starting out, we'll give anyone a go. It might be family, friends. And this is something I learned from the business consultant that helps companies that we work with scale. Initially, that might be the right move, but then it has to be a little bit more sophisticated. You've got to figure out who's going to help you get to that next level. And then having someone who can hold your hand through that process, it makes a lot of sense, hey?
Yeah, because you want to eliminate as many fuck-ups as possible without having to experience the fuck-ups. So, and that saves you time, money, and resources, man. If you can eliminate them on the front end instead of the back end, then it's a win for you as a company, and it saves you a lot of time and money. Like I said, resources. So I'm a big proponent on mentorship, man, consultant. I tell anybody, I know a lot, but there's a lot that I don't know as well. And if I'm not 100% dialed in on something, I'd rather just pay the money, bring somebody in to help navigate me through that. That way I don't spend a year, 2 years of screw up, trial and error, and not getting anywhere but spinning my tires in mud. So trying to eliminate that on the front end. A lot of small businesses, especially in our area where we're at, a lot of small businesses don't lean on that. They like to play the small game. They make enough just to make a year's salary, and they work their fingers to the bone. No different as if they were working for another company. They work their dicks in the dirt, and then they just want to know why, at the end of the day, why they're still just as unhappy, the day they pass away, that they were when they were working for another soul. It's cool and all, but you build a company and a business, in my opinion, to give back your time, not to exert more time. And I see a lot of people working. On the front end, you have to put in time. I still put in time. Matter of fact, like I said, we already talked about what's happening tomorrow. I already know I'm going to have to double down. I'm going to have to start picking up some, where they were slacking. I'm going to have to pick up them 2 roles until we get somebody in to pick them up.
Yeah.
I'm still the sales guy. One of the sales guys. I'm the biggest closer of our company, whereas most owners should be. If you're, we're fresh, man. We're just getting started. We're 2 years in, going on 3 years. Well, we're just getting started. I'm still having to put in time, but a year or 5, I don't want to be putting in that time. I want other people. I'd rather pay somebody to put in that time than me put in that time. Because I value time over money. I like money, but I value my time over my money all day. I won't even get in a fucking drive-through line if they got more than 3 cars in that son of a bitch, because I don't want to waste time in the drive-through line. They're going to piss away time. Me sitting there waiting on them to get my burger right. I already know they're going to put onions on the son of a bitch.
That's important. We here at the I Drink From Skulls podcast, we don't hate money. We don't hate money, but we love time even more.
Yes.
The number one thing that I'm speaking to guys, we speak to roofers, home improvement guys every day of the week, and being in a position or having the mindset to be able to replace yourself so that the business can run with or without you, that's probably the number one thing that comes up, but it's not the number one thing that people are thinking about. So I think it's cool that you're going through that process, 2 years in the books, going into year 3, and you're really working hard. And there is a lot of sweat equity. There is an extra investment in time wearing all the hats right now. But you've got the mindset that you want to be, 5 mil this year, probably 10 mil in the next few years. You want to be a $10 million company, and you don't want to have to wear all the hats. So you're doing the groundwork right now to get out of those spots, so that you can get more time with your kids, you can have more time with your family, and you've got a business that works for you, with you, and does the things that you want out of it. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. It's super important, man. And I think, and if anybody's struggling with this, and it doesn't matter what the business is, if you're struggling with this, and you've done a lot of trial and error shit, hey, look, chalk up the money. There is a mentor out there. There is a consultant out there. Hey, make sure they have a proven system. Don't just go hire some damn internet guru. Make sure they have a proven system to help navigate you through the bullshit, to get you on the other side of it a lot quicker. Because if not, you're going to spend more years just pissing away time, pissing away money, and pissing away resources because you want to try to save some money on the front end. Spend the money on the front end, you'll make a lot more on the back end.
100%. The way I look at mentors too is it is that shortcut, someone to hold your hand, someone who's done the things that you want. That's the key. There's tons of them out there. There's a handful that are very good. So if anyone needs help with that, reach out to either of us. We can direct you in the right direction. Just on that, my good man, where do you see the opportunity in roofing this year? Where do you see the opportunity? You kind of mentioned some stuff about it before. Is it focusing on the bigger work, like the more sophisticated stuff?
Yeah, we're trying to target more to the high-end clients, the commercial jobs, to help hit those numbers. Because we are, like I said, we're halfway through the year. And if we don't really focus on that alone, and getting the key players in place for those projects, and then we won't hit our target. And I think that's the main focus: hitting the higher end clients, hitting the bigger subdivisions, hitting the designer roofs, hitting the flat roofs, things of that nature. Well, we plugged in tight with a lot of the county work around us. A lot of I go out shaking hands with politicians, man. I'm kind of like a politic myself. Some days I feel like I go out and I do a lot of lunches with politics and stuff. That way, we get a lot of the county and the city work because we're the first person in mind. That they know we do. Everybody knows us in this area, so they know we're going to capitalize on any project they give us. So that's our main focus right now is the higher end clients, the higher end residential in our area. You get anything over $500 a square. You own some shingles, boy, you banging. Some areas that's low money, but here in Mississippi, that's high dollar shit.
Yeah.
So we hit those higher end shingle jobs. We hit those slate tile roofs. You see, we got the tile stuff behind us. We got a tile client right now where we're at appraisal with, that's going to help get us there. And, we got a couple more in that neighborhood that's got tile roofs. That's going to help get us there as well. But like I said, we got to have the right people manage those jobs, make sure we do those jobs to a T. That way we don't get that bad rap. Because at the end of the day, I don't want anything less than a 5-star on my Google reviews. So we really, really strive to please the client to get that at the end. But yeah, commercial and higher end residential clients is going to get us there by the end of the year.
How are you approaching getting, like you mentioned a little bit there, but how are you approaching landing those types of clients? You've taken the politician's approach?
I'm a big proponent on building relationships with, I would say, high net worth people, but not in the sense of money or value. It's high influential people, should I say. People that have influence over other people. So if I could sell one person on 3B construction and roofing, and they could sell 10 people on them, they made my job easy. And that's kind of like our bank. I'm real good friends with the branch manager of the big bank downtown where I bank. We just got a commercial job from them on the building that they're buying. we build, like I said, build relationship with the politicians. On the hiring client stuff, we kind of target those areas with our SEO, our Google guaranteed stuff. We kind of target those areas, especially in those neighborhoods where we put our location on our phone. That way, when they search, our Google guarantee shows up as they searching for a roofer, boom, we pop up in their neighborhood. And we just kind of target those bigger areas. We don't turn our backs on the single and double wide trailers. We knock those out as well. But we're trying to get away from that. We don't want to be that contractors. A lot of contractors in there that could service those people that are a lot more affordable than I am. But we're trying to hit the higher end clients. I've found, and this is just my opinion, that they're easier to work with versus the lower end clients where it's like pulling teeth to get your final payment. The higher end clients, they don't mind writing you that fast at the end. And then that's just my opinion. Some other people might be, have a different opinion on that. It's just from my experience. I've experienced with the clients that we've had. And then that's about all the marketing we got going on right now, man. Word of mouth. We got our first billboard going up right here in town. We were able to suck it up at Steel. So, that type of thing. I got mailers going out to the hell hit areas in our town. The country club, I live right a half a mile from the country club here. It has a lot of big houses in there. We shoot marketing over there, and we're constantly door knocking over there. We're setting up jobs over there. We're going over there to eat lunches with the golf players that are probably the doctors and the judges in this town, buying their lunches and stuff. And it's just, and that's kind of where we're at right now on the marketing and things. Like I said, some things are, we've wasted a lot of money, on a lot of employees that just went capitalizing, on our general fund of our company is kind of got lower than we like. And so it's kind of like, we're just trying to stop, put a hold to everything until we can get back on the right track. And we're still doing good money, but I still don't, there's a number that I like to keep my accounts, and if we're not there, man, I get, so I just try to make sure we're still doing all the right things while we're going through these changes with the company.
And I'm sure appreciate that honesty too, because everyone goes through that, and it's very common, right? Like when you're growing and scaling, you don't have all the answers initially. You bring on people, maybe the onboarding, the training processes aren't as dialed in as they will be once you've worked with a high-end consultant who's done this stuff for you, done it before. Or alternatively, you without knowing, you bring on the wrong person too. So everyone lands in this spot. And if it's one thing I've learned with the labor market in Australia, America, and pretty much anywhere in the world right now, it's tough. It's tough to find really good quality people. There is a million different opportunities. There's also a little bit of a undertone of people, the working mindset has changed in the last 3 years. I think everyone can agree with that. And it's just a different place right now, whether it's roofing, marketing, anywhere, anything, anywhere. I've noticed it. So the key is to keep putting in the work, right? Which is what you're doing and going through that process.
Yeah, man, you got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, put in the work, not slack off, and just keep inching forward. Not every day is going to be a home run. You might get a base hit, but you got to just keep moving forward. If you don't do that, it'll drown you. It'll pull you under, man. You don't want to do that shit. And I definitely don't want to do that. I've been doing, like I said, enough failures in life that I don't want to have them setbacks. That's why I'm trying to put in the time, like I said, money, resources now to kind of get us through it without too much of a hard hit on us.
I love that. And like a base hit from me, from what you just explained, is going to, we identify who we want to help, and they are the people of influence. They have a bit more income. And the reason why you need to target them is because you are paying for insurance. You are investing in your staff. You do have a lot more expenses on the bottom line than what some of these quote unquote competitors do have. So you need to aim at the higher end of the market, and you have a better product and service to deliver, and that's where it needs to be. But a base hit to me, you're going to the country club. You're going where you're figuring out, okay, judges, politicians, people of influence, that's where they're hanging out. That's one place they're hanging out. So we want to be where they're at. I love that. That's a base hit. Buy them lunch. That's another base hit. Just winning these little micro wins over and over and over again. And you become the person that they go to when they need a roof. So I love that strategy.
I feel like if you can sell one person that could sell 10 people for you, it's an easy win, man. And It's free marketing, man. You know, I built my name here just in my area, just from my fight career. A lot of people know me. People trust me. A lot of people believe in me because they seen where I started and they see where I'm at now. That's known me for a long time, you know, and that helps. That helps a lot. You know, Bubba's a good motherfucker. You really deal with him, he's gonna make sure he takes care of you. That type of thing. The good old boy system out here in South Mississippi.
Yeah. I think I'd fit in well there.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah, I got to get there.
Yeah, when you get over, there's some fried chicken.
Yes, I would love that. I'm going to buy a cowboy hat, eat some fried chicken. I'll get right into it. I'll even put on an accent right here.
Yeah, you go. That's it. That's it.
Let's change tunes a little bit. You have a podcast, Blue Collar Alliance. You have a Facebook group. There's lots of traction with both of those from what I've seen. Looks pretty cool. Let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so when I was working in the refineries, man, and this kind of struck the idea for me when I was kind of exiting, you know, trying to navigate through getting out of the plants. That happened in 2017. I got custody of my oldest son, had my second son on the way, and I'm like, man, I really don't want to be working on the roads all the time. That's kind of where I started my entrepreneur journey. I dabble in this. I had this shiny penny syndrome. I think that's what they call it, shiny object syndrome, whatever what they call it. I would say I was chasing. I was never really dialing in on one thing. But, you know, through that time, I was doing a lot of growth, personal development, growth training. And I was still seeing these people in the plants that still lived with this old mentality of just, that's the one thing they're good for is the job that their craft that they work. Man, that's a fucked up way to think. I would see these 70-year-old men still working in the plants that should be home with their fucking wife and grandkids, hanging out, chilling, smoking stogies and drinking whiskey on the back porch in the afternoons, not working in a damn turner room. And I felt bad for him, man. I had the biggest heart when it comes to shit like that. I'm a stubborn asshole, and I really don't get that much empathy and sympathy, but I really feel for people that don't see the potential or the opportunity to exit something like that, because it will take a toll on you. And what started the Blue Collar Alliance was this guy I used to work with. He worked in the tool room. He was like 73 years old. He was gearing up to go hit another turnaround, another shutdown in a plant. And he died of a massive heart attack because he never set himself up for retirement. And I was like, man, it is not my job to work in the industry no more. It's my job to work on the industry. And that's what Blue Collar Alliance started at. You know, I'm going through some things. It's more of a motivation thing. I want to motivate people to kind of get out of their own way, because most people, like, you know, they put up their own roadblocks in life. I would do that, but I can't do that. Oh, that will never work here. I heard this shit my whole life. You know, you can't do this. Remember when I fought at 185? Dude told me, he said, bro, you too big. You can never make 185. I said, the best thing you ever told me. So I fought at 185. Jeez, like a crackhead, but I fought at 185. But and that's where it kind of started. Then the podcast, you know, I wanted to start empowering them and blue collar people, interviewing real people. I just want to have real talks with real people, you know, to kind of get their perspective on, you know, whether it's while they're still in the industry, while they still working their fingers to the bone and hadn't started setting up a type of retirement. Whether it's, I'm not a big proponent. I will never like propose that anybody puts their money in a 401k or anything that's government driven, but like something. I mean, do something.
You got to do something.
You nothing is not going to do it for you. You got to do something. You know, if you want some ideas on what you can do to kind of start growing either a side hustle to generate extra revenue, to start putting the money that you're making into an avenue that works really well, that's going to generate that wealth for you. Because you do not want on the worst day of your family's life when you die, them not to have something set up and they got to struggle with all the debt and liabilities that you've acquired because you just wasn't disciplined enough to put something aside for that day, you know? And that's kind of where it got started, man. And it's not even about, not everybody can be an entrepreneur, man. I even question somebody's saying, can I fucking do it, you know? But everybody can start a side hustle to generate extra revenue to put up on the side or put into an avenue of for retirement. Everybody can do that. Anybody that has a half a cent could do that. So, and that's kind of where we started. That's why I started that group, was for that reason, to help empower people, blue collar workers, to get out of that old mindset of, working your fingers to the bone, working hard. You can work hard, but if you work hard at the wrong things, you can be laying on your deathbed one day just regretting every fucking decision you made. And that is the worst way to die, is on a bed of regrets, man. I feel like it'd be the worst way to die.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. That's the thing. There's so many different things you can do now. Not everyone's built to be an entrepreneur or own a business. It's fucking hard. But everyone can invest in their skills. Everyone can get more out of what they're already doing. Everyone can find a way to flip some shit or make some more money or do something to help set themselves up. And you're right, it doesn't have to be, not big proponents on relying on the government for anything, but there are investment tools out there. There are properties that you can invest in. There are ways that you can set yourself up for the future, because you've got to stop thinking about yourself. You got to start thinking about the people that rely on you. Wife, kids, family. What are you doing for them? That's what it's all about. So for anyone who wants to, join Blue Collar Alliance or follow the podcast, how can we get them connected with you on that one?
So on the podcast, it'll be on YouTube. It's just streaming on YouTube right now. It's at 601 Roofing King. And then on the podcast and on the Facebook group, it's just Blue Collar Alliance. Type it in the search engine, it'll pop up. Then there's another one there. That's the one that's got like 2,500 or so group members in it. So that'd be the one you want to join. I don't know. May talk to Mark Zuckerberg about that to remove that.
Copycat. Get rid of him. Yeah. Any final words before we wrap up?
Yeah, just don't give up. Don't take no for an answer. Keep moving forward. Check me out on TikTok and Instagram as well at 601 Roofing King. If anybody wants to follow me on Facebook, it's hated to do this, but Facebook had to verify my identification, so they had made me use my government name. So it's Brandon Malbrough on Facebook, and hopefully in the near future that get changed back to Bubba, because nobody knows me by Brandon. I've had so many people that's known me for probably like 10 plus years inbox me, but like, bro, I never knew your name was Brandon. I was like, yeah, I know it's a leader on that. But yeah, check me out, and like I said, don't give up. We live in a day and age where resources are free resources. You can go on Google, YouTube, anything you want to know about, you can find it for free to get you started. Literally, I started this logo. I didn't get this. My first logo was created through a free app called WordSwag. Literally was a free app. I had no reason. I had nothing. And I started with zero. I was negative $2,800 in the bank when I started my company. So the resources are there to get started. And that's all you got to do is get started, generate a little revenue, and start putting the shit into place that you need to actually put into place. Learn how to sell. If I could tell you anything, learn how to fucking sell. Sales will change your life. You know how to sell already. You just got to perfect it a little bit. Everybody knows how to sell. Every man that's gotten married had to sell his wife to marry him. Every woman that's got married, she had to sell her husband to marry her. Sell. I mean, sales easy. We don't sell roofs. We sell education. We sell knowledge. We sell help. We don't sell roofs. And when you start selling like that, you take the money aspect out of it and actually start caring about the client first. We get so much further ahead.
I love that. I think that's a great note to finish on, my good man. Thank you so much for sharing some time today, and we will see everyone on the next episode. Cheers.